All right, hello everyone. It is Wednesday, April 16th, and today I am just answering some of your questions about English and learning English. So, any questions that you might have, please feel free to ask them during this live session. However, first, I am going to spend a little bit of time just saying hello and reading the comments. So if you have questions, do not ask them yet. Please wait a few minutes. I will tell you, okay, now is the time to answer questions. Okay, I see Jane is here. Jane says, "Good evening, Teacher Mike. Happy to join today's live. Thank you very much." Thank you, Jane. Thank you for joining. I am glad that you are here as well. Guerma is here as usual. Good afternoon, teacher. I am very pleased to join your live lesson today. Thank you, Guerma. And again, I am also glad to have you here. Ooh, Ava is here. Ava says, "Hi, Mike. It's good to see you. I'm all ears and would love to watch your live lesson." Thank you, Ava. And yeah, okay, good. Thank you for joining. I see GOT is here. Hello, sir. I am from India. Hello, and thank you for joining. Thank you for commenting. I don't know how to read your name, but thank you for joining. Thank you for commenting. Happy to have you here. And Edilver, hello, teacher. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining. Thank you for commenting. And Abdul, hi. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining. I see Jose is also here. Thank you, Jose. And Batul, hello, teacher Mike. Hello, Batul. Thank you for joining. And Luyanda. I have never seen that name before. Nice name, Luyanda. Good afternoon, Teacher Mike. I'm so happy. It is my first time joining your live. Okay. And that is why I have not seen your name before. Thank you for joining, and I hope you learned something today. And I'm not going to read every comment, but I do see one from Renata. Renata has the little symbol next to her name, which means that she is a YouTube member. So she pays a very small fee every month to help support my channel, and I greatly appreciate it. So thank you very much, Renata. Thank you for continuing to be a member. I am glad that you are here as well. Okay, and before we begin, I am just going to share one thing, and that is the link to my Facebook broadcast channel. Going to share this in the comments right now. Please look in the comments. If you have not yet joined my Facebook broadcast channel, this is the best way to get updates and information from me. It's a Facebook Messenger group, which means that I can send messages to all of you via Facebook Messenger. And don't worry, it's not crazy. There are not lots of messages because I am the only person who can send the messages. You cannot send messages. So don't worry, it's not 40,000 people sending messages. It's just me sending 1, 2, or maybe 3 messages per day, giving you updates, sharing videos with you, other things like that. So if you haven't yet joined the Facebook broadcast channel, I highly recommend clicking the link that I have just shared below in the comments. All right. And now let's start with some questions. The first thing I see is good afternoon, sir. Could you please send me the lessons about wish and regrets? So I'm not going to send you a lesson, but I will tell you that if you go to my YouTube channel or my Facebook page and you search the word wish, you will find 2 or 3 videos that I already have about the word wish. So please just search on my YouTube channel or my Facebook page. Okay, good afternoon. What is slang? Okay, so this is an interesting question because a lot of people think that they know what slang is, but they don't actually understand it correctly. So I'm glad that someone is asking. Slang is very, very informal or casual, not professional language that is used by groups of people to usually to show their identity in a group or to show something about their culture. Um, so that's the two important things about slang. One, it's very informal. Two, it's almost always used by specific groups of people. So the slang words that teenage girls use in Boston will be very different from the slang that 40-year-old men use in California. Because the slang that we use it to say, hey, when you hear these words come from my mouth, you will know who I am. You will know that I am a member of this group or a member of this community. And that is why, in my opinion, the best way to learn slang is to just listen to people who are usually similar to you, because you don't want to use slang that is connected to a group of people that is very different from you, because then it sounds like you are one of those people. So remember that when we use slang, we are telling people, this is who I am. I am the type of person who uses this language because I am a member of this community. For example, there could be African American slang, gay slang, what else? Tech slang. So only people who work in tech use those words. Only gay people use those words. Only African Americans use those words. And that's something that I really want everyone to understand about slang. Don't use it to try to sound cool. What you want to do is understand who uses it, because when you use it, people will think that you are one of those people. Good question. How are you, sir? Could you tell me how I can change? Okay, so this person wants to know how to sound more like a native speaker. Um, Again, listen. So if you want to sound like a native speaker, first, choose the type of native speaker that you want to sound like. Do you want to sound like a British person from London? Do you want to sound like an American from California? Do you want to sound like an American person from Boston? So, if you really want to sound like a native speaker, you need to know what or which, yeah, what native speaker do you want to sound like? And then listen to those people every day. And this is true for vocabulary, grammar, and your accent and your pronunciation. Um, Choose the type of person that you want to sound like, listen to them every day, and repeat the things that you hear. This one is a bit more general. I want to speak English very well. How do I do that? So, first, you need to decide What does that mean? What do you mean when you say speak English well? Does that mean that you want to be very fluent? Does that mean that you want to speak with perfect grammar? Does that mean that you want to sound like a native speaker? Does that mean that you want to use very formal English? You need to decide what that means to you. And to do that, you need to think about, why are you learning English? Are you learning it for professional communication in an office? Are you learning it for travel? Are you learning it to communicate with family members who speak English? You need to decide why you are learning it, because each goal is different. Um, and I don't know what you mean when you say speak well. Um, However, if your goal is to communicate in a professional work environment, in my opinion, your goals should be fluency, listening, and some grammar. Your grammar doesn't need to be perfect, but it should be pretty good. Um, there are different ways that you can improve your grammar. You can do this by just listening every day and repeating the things that you hear, or you can do it by reading grammar books, watching videos about grammar. I recommend doing both of those things. If your goal is fluency, um, practice speaking every day. That's the main thing. Um, if what was the other thing I said? Grammar, fluency, listening. If you need to improve your listening, it's not speaking, but it's still important. Just listen every day. Um, so really, there's nothing special that you need to do. Um, Everyone should be speaking every day, listening every day, reading every day, studying a little bit every day. Which thing you do the most depends on what your goals are. And if you want other suggestions for how to improve your speaking, I already have lots of videos about that on YouTube. You can just go to my YouTube channel or my Facebook page and search speak, or practice speaking, or improve speaking. If you search for those things on my YouTube channel, you will find videos about those. Another thing that I will recommend, I'm going to send a link in the comments. It's going to look like this. You will see this link in the comments in just one moment, because I have 2 ebooks already. One ebook is about how to improve your speaking without a partner. So it's about 8 ways to improve your speaking, even if you don't have anyone to practice speaking with. My second ebook is about how to learn to think in English and stop translating everything from your first language, because this is a very important thing that you need to be able to do if you want to speak fluently. And give me one moment and I will share that link in the comments below. I know many of you already have the ebook, but I'm sharing the link below for anyone who does not yet have it, or ebooks, because again, there are 2. Okay. Find another question. So this is a grammar question. Are possessive adjectives also considered pronouns, or are they purely adjectives? So I think this person is asking, are possessive adjectives also pronouns? And I don't think so, no, because we have possessive adjectives and we also have possessive pronouns. Um, for example, my dog, my dog. That is my dog. My is an adjective in that sentence because it's with the noun dog. My dog. Adjectives describe nouns. So, my dog, your pen, his book, her car. Those are all adjectives. Pronouns are words that we use instead of a noun. So when we have a pronoun, it is not with a noun, it is by itself. For example, this is mine. That's a pronoun because I did not say the noun. The noun is tape measure. So this is my tape measure. My tape measure, that's an adjective. But if I just say mine, no noun, that is a pronoun. Um, This is my phone. My is an adjective. Or I could say, it is mine. That is a pronoun. I hope that answers your question. I see a lot of people just saying hello in the comments. Hello, hello, everybody, and thank you all very much for joining. Random question, but okay. What does homestay mean? So a homestay is a type of accommodation. An accommodation is a place that you stay, you live, you sleep. For example, a hotel, a resort, a bungalow, a motel, an apartment. Um, a homestay is a type of accommodation where you stay in the home of a family. So you get to stay with the family and experience their culture instead of staying at a hotel or something. Lydia, I see your question. How about and what about? Are they the same or are they different? Um, I think that there probably is a small difference between them, but right now I can't remember what it is because native speakers often use them the same. However, this is something that I want to talk about in the future after I have time to do some research and really plan a good lesson about it. So I will try to talk about this more in the future, but I don't have a really good answer for you right now. It's a good question though. So this is a question about teaching English. What is the best strategy to help students be engaged in the class? So, how do you make sure that the students are active and they are participating, they are doing the things that you want them to do? Um, I mean, there's only really one strategy, right? You require them to participate. Um, So it might be difficult if you teach children and you're in a school and you have a curriculum and you have to teach this, this, and this. But for me, I have always taught speaking, communication. And the way that you teach speaking is by saying, you, speak, use the language together. I'm watching you. Speak, speak, speak. And that's what I recommend doing. Make people speak with each other. Don't give them an option. Um, I mean, if I had a student in my class who was not participating and they said, "No, I don't want to do that," I would tell them to go away, leave, get out of my classroom. Why are you here? But yeah, it might be different if you have a class of children, but I do not teach children. Give me one moment. Okay. Hi, I am Thai from Thailand. I would like to know the difference between flower and blossom. Thank you. Um, so someone is probably going to tell me, teacher, that's not 100% true. I work with flowers. That's okay. I'm giving everyone a simple explanation right now. So often when we say flower, we are talking about a plant that has the flower on the top of it. And that flower can be called a blossom, especially when it's just opening. But the whole thing we could call a flower. Um, for example, let's pretend that, here, let's pretend that, this is not great. This is a flower, right? This is the stem. This part is green. It comes from the ground. And this is the colorful part that smells nice. So the whole thing is a flower in everyday English. But this part could be called the blossom. However, again, in everyday English, most people just call the whole thing a flower. But if you want to be specific, you could say that this part is the blossom of the flower. Again, not a perfect explanation, but just trying to give you a simple idea of it. Pone Tony, thank you for the New Year wishes and Happy New Year to you as well. And for anyone who doesn't know, in Southeast Asia, it is their New Year in many countries right now. Or I think it just finished recently. For example, in Thailand, I think it's the 13th, 14th, and 15th of April that are their New Year. Ava, what is better for improving English? Watching English movies with English subtitles or with subtitles in my native language? Um, it depends, and I think you already know what I'm going to say, but it depends on your goals. So, if you want to improve your listening, English subtitles or no subtitles. That's what's best for your listening. But if you really want to focus on learning, so new words, new vocabulary, meaning, understanding everything, getting new information, then you might want to use the subtitles in your native language. So I think that's pretty clear, but I'll summarize it one more time. For listening, English subtitles or no subtitles. Because if you have subtitles in your first language and you're reading them, when you're reading your first language, you aren't listening to the English. To listen to the English, you can't listen to two languages at the same time. I mean, you can, but it makes it a lot more difficult. So when you're trying to improve your listening, English or no subtitles. If you want to learn new things really quickly and get lots of information and make sure that you understand everything, then you might want to use the subtitles in your first language. But in general, I recommend no subtitles. I also have 1 or 2 videos about this. Ava, I'm sure that you have probably watched them already, but I just want everyone else to know I do have 2 videos about this topic on my YouTube channel already. Good question. What's the biggest challenge students face in English? That depends on the student. There's not one answer there. It depends on the student and their situation, their opportunities, their education. There are a million different things that will give you a different challenge for each person. And right now, I'm about 13 minutes behind in the comments. I'm still reading comments from 11:15. So I'm going to skip down a little bit, try to get to 11:20. When will we be able to read your third ebook? I'm still working on it. It's been taking me a long time. I have 99% of the information finished, 99% of the writing finished, but it's probably going to take me at least 10 or 20 more hours to finish the editing, finish the formatting, update the website so that I can sell it, other things like that. So it will probably be like probably 2 or 3 more weeks, and then it will be ready. Thank you for asking. All right, and we're gonna do just 2 or 3 more questions. And this person's asking, can I buy your ebook in a bookshop? No, you cannot because it is an ebook. Ebook means that it is digital. However, I did share a link in the comments. If you would like to buy it, I will share that link one more time. So I'm sharing it right now, the link to get my 2 ebooks. It is now in the comments again. Thank you for asking. I can print this is a really good question. I can pronounce a specific word well, but I cannot speak complete sentences. How can I improve this? You need to practice speaking. So I think that many of you don't practice saying full sentences. And practicing speaking full sentences is something that you should be doing every day. And when you learn a new word, write some sentences with that word and practice saying those sentences out loud several times every day. This is something that I talk about in my ebook. You are someone who would probably find my ebook very useful, the one about how to practice speaking, but the ebook about how to practice thinking in English would also be very useful for this as well. Good question. What's the difference between a hotel and a motel? So, a motel, the mo is for motor, motorway. So, like cars. So, a motel is usually a hotel that is along a highway. So, you're driving on the highway, you can stop at the motel. And at a motel, there's usually parking spaces for you to park your car in front of the room. So at a hotel, you usually have to walk through a lobby and a hallway, maybe take an elevator to get to your room. But at a motel, you can park your car in front of your room and just walk in. What does homebody mean? So a homebody is just a person who really likes to spend time at home. They're very comfortable at home. They prefer being home to going out. What is the difference between figure out and find out? So I made a video about this about 1 or 2 months ago. I recommend looking on my YouTube channel. It will be very easy to find this video because it is very recent. Or if you don't see it, you can just search, figure out, and my video will show up. Um, but the basic difference is that find out basically just means learn or discover. You get some new information somehow. It's not clear how you got the information. But figure out means that you use your brain to try to understand something. Um, if that's not clear, again, I highly recommend watching the video that I already have on my YouTube channel. Why can I understand you better than another English speaker? Because I am a teacher. I'm a teacher. My job is to help you understand me. So I use language that's a little bit easier to understand. I always use correct grammar, mostly, like same as a native speaker. I don't say things like I speak, you listen. No, I don't do that, but I do use language that is a little bit more simple than I might use when talking to my mother. Um, so yeah, because I am a teacher. What's the difference between going to and present continuous for future? So we don't always use these perfectly. We don't always follow the rules 100%. But here is the general rule. Going to is about intent. Intent is when you have an idea in your mind. I want to do this. I will do this. But that's not what we say. What we say is, I'm going to do this. I'm going to basically means I have a very strong feeling and I want to do it. Um, Whereas present continuous, for example, I'm meeting my mother tomorrow. I'm studying English tomorrow. When we use present continuous this way, it's for something that we have arranged with another person or scheduled with another person. So we talked, you talked, I talked. We said, okay, let's do that tomorrow. Okay, now we can say, I'm meeting my mother tomorrow. I'm going fishing with my uncle tomorrow. So when we talk to another person and we arrange something, then we use present continuous for future. But going to is more like a very, very strong and real want. I want to. I'm going to. Good question. And I have a video about this on YouTube. I recommend searching. I don't remember what it's called, but I think it's called 4 ways to talk about the future. You can just search future on my YouTube channel and you should find that video. All right, we're going to do 1 or 2 more questions. Let's see. Okay, I already see 2 that I like. First one, How can I use the word tough correctly? Um, there are at least 4 or 5 ways to use this word. This word has many different meanings. Um, the two main ways that we use it, number one is that it's basically an informal way of saying difficult. It was tough. That means it was difficult. Um, you can also use it to say that someone is kind of like they're similar to a soldier or a fighter. They are strong. They do not get hurt easily. He's very tough means you don't want to fight him. Or my mother is very tough. It sounds like my mother is very strong. You can't scare her. She's going to do what she needs to do. Another way that we use tough is when talking about meat, for example, beef or pork or something. And in that case, tough is like chewy. It's not soft. It's not tender. It's tough. It's difficult to chew. Those are 3 ways that we use it. There are more, but you can look in a dictionary. But the main way that we use it, I think, is just to mean difficult. Good question. Okay, maybe not last. I'll do 2 more. This question's long. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but what I see is the first part. Do I ever use teacher to address my teacher? So the general rule or idea is that you address someone the way that they ask you to address them. So if your teacher says, you can call me teacher, yeah, call them teacher. If your teacher says, call me Mr. Johnson, call him Mr. Johnson. If your teacher says, call me Miss, call her Miss. There's no one way to talk to a teacher, especially if you are not in the United States. So in the United States, we usually call our teachers Mr. or Ms. last name. However, that's in the United States. And you don't need to do the same thing in every country. And there are also schools in the United States where they don't do that. There are some schools where teachers call their students their first name. So yeah, there's no right or wrong way to address your teacher. You just need to call them what they want you to call them. Or if you are a teacher, your students should call you what you tell them. So if your name is Marie, you might tell your students, I want you to call me Marie. Or you might say, I want you to call me Miss Schoenfelderova. Up to you, up to you. And I have a video about this on YouTube in which I talk about this in more detail and a bit more clearly. So you might want to watch that video. You can search on my YouTube channel how to address your teacher. What is the difference between I'm not and I ain't? So I ain't is informal and non-standard. It's not considered correct in standard English. It is used in many dialects of English, but it's not considered standard or formal. So in a very formal business situation, or if you're giving a speech or you're talking to the president or something, you probably shouldn't use ain't, but it is very common in everyday conversation. What's the difference between this? This is the last question that we are going to talk about. What is the difference between an idiom and a phrasal verb? So a phrasal verb is when you have a verb and a preposition, usually. For example, pick up. Pick is the verb, up is the preposition. But together, the meaning is not about picking something, and the meaning is not about up. It has a very different meaning when you put the two words together. An idiom is just something that kind of similar. When you hear an idiom, you won't always understand. What is this person talking about? That I don't understand. But it doesn't always have a verb and a preposition. That's a very simple explanation. For more information about this, I have a video on YouTube. You can go to my YouTube channel and you can search idiom, slang, phrasal verbs, because I have a video that very clearly explains the difference between idioms, slang, and phrasal verbs. Again, that video is already on YouTube, so you can search for it. But yeah, that is all for today. We've got to stop here because we are out of time. But I appreciate all of your questions. There have been a lot of really good ones today. There have even been a lot of really good ones that I have seen, but I just haven't had time to answer because I'm only one person and I can't answer all the questions. I wish I could, but I can't. So yeah, that is all for today. Thank you all very much for joining, and I will see you at this time again next week.